On August 30th, 1987, the streets of Tel Aviv were filled with smoke and anger. Thousands of engineers, pilots, and mechanics were rioting. They weren't protesting a war. They weren't protesting the economy. They were protesting the death of a dream. Israel had done the impossible. A tiny nation, surrounded by enemies, had built a fighter jet that was superior to anything in the American or Soviet arsenal. It was called the Levi, the Lion. It was faster than the F-16. It was more maneuverable. It was a masterpiece, but it would never go to war. Because 6,000 miles away in Washington, D.C., a decision had been made. The Levi was too good. It was a threat to American profits. And so, the order came down, kill the Lion. Welcome to Shadowworks. Today we open the file on the IA Levi, the greatest fighter jet that was murdered by its own allies. To understand the Levi, you have to understand the paranoia of Israel in the 1980s. The design they came up with was radical. It used a delta wing combined with canards, small wings near the nose. This configuration is unstable, but incredibly agile. It allowed the Levi to point its nose at an enemy instantly, a critical advantage in the close-range dogfights of the Middle East. The cockpit was designed by combat veterans. It was the first fighter in history to prioritize user experience. It had fewer switches and more screens. It was a plane designed by pilots for pilots. When the prototype took its first flight in 1986, the test pilot landed and said, "This handles better than anything I have ever flown." But in Washington, nobody was celebrating. The U.S. government had funded 40% of the Levi's development. They thought they were paying for a cheap, low-tech jet that Israel could use for ground attacks. They didn't realize they were funding a competitor. Northrop and General Dynamics, the makers of the F-16 and F-18, were furious. They looked at the Levi's specs and realized the truth. He knew that killing the Levi meant killing Israel's aerospace independence. But the Prime Minister, Yitzhak